everyone. My name is Maduri.
And my name is Laura.
And today we'll be talking about the MLA Principles 8th edition.
All right, so MLA 8 was created as a response to the kind of research we're now conducting in the 21st century. So the kind of sources we're citing, they're continually changing, they're evolving, they're being hosted across different kinds of platforms, and MLA 8 wanted to create a more universal citation style that is able to encapsulate all these different types of sources.
And these principles can be found on page 3 and 4 of the official MLA guide.
Yes, and we're going to start with the first principle now. All right, so the first principle, Principle 1, cite simple traits shared by most works. MLA 8 no longer centers itself on different types of publication formats. Instead, they use this idea of containers. So there are different types of containers, and these are traits that most works share. They include things like author, title, publication, and publications could include things like journals, books, websites. And so you use different containers to best cite your source. All right, so the next principle is Principle 2. Remember that there is often more than one way to document a source. And what I mean by this is different situations call for different solutions. So, for instance, as a student, you might need to document your source differently than a scholar who's working in their field of expertise. So you always need to think about your purpose for writing, who your audience is, and what genre you're writing, and this will help you find the way to best document your sources.
The third principle is to make sure your documentation is useful to readers. And some things to keep in mind as you're documenting is the thoroughness. You want to make sure your sources are relevant to your essay or your argument. Secondly, you want to give credit to your sources, and usually this is done through in-text citations or signal phrases. And third, you want to make sure that your sources are easy to find by your readers. And that's usually, again, done through in-text citations and a works cited page. Now, lastly, you want to make sure you include sufficient information that is comprehensible and consistent in structure. And usually this is done by having a uniform structure and format. Now that we've talked about the three main principles, here's a simple way to remember them.
All right, so first, think. Think about the type of source you're documenting and the information you would need to best document that source. Next, select. Select the kind of documentation that best fits your source and your particular situation.
And lastly, you want to organize. Organize your sources in a way that is useful and easy for your readers to find.
All right, so now we just like to provide a caveat. The principles we've been discussing come from the MLA 8th edition official handbook. So your professor might have different guidelines and expectations for how they'd like you to document your source.
And remember,
it's always better to oversight than undercite.